61-year-old Bill McVeigh is enjoying his early retirement years as best he can, doing the things he enjoys most, like working in his garden and chipping golf balls in the backyard. But it can't be easy losing himself in these simple pleasures, because McVeigh has lived much of the past 6 years in the eye of a hurricane. Bill's son, 33-year-old Timothy McVeigh, has been sentenced to death for the Oklahoma City bombing. Father Paul Belzer has been the McVeigh family priest for decades.
Bill is quiet, and he stays by himself most of the time, and he seems to be calm when you talk with him. How's everything? Okay. Can we do anything? No.
Inside Edition spent an extensive amount of time with Bill McVeigh at his home. McVeigh won't be interviewed on camera. He's trying to live quietly, but it hasn't been easy. In our in-depth off-camera interviews, Bill told us that when he's visited his son in jail, Timothy has seemed like the same good-natured kid he's always known. Bill says he'll never understand how his son or anyone could do anything like what was done in Oklahoma. Dan Herbeck and Lou Michel are the authors of American Terrorist.
He is crestfallen by what happened in this bombing. When it first happened, he was astounded to hear that all these innocent people were killed.
Can you turn that off, please?
Would you talk to me?
No. Can you turn that off, please?
That's pretty much all Timothy's sister Jennifer had to say when we caught up with her near her new home, far from where she, her brother, and older sister Patty grew up outside of Buffalo, New York. Jennifer wants to be left alone. She was living in her family's hometown when her brother was arrested, and she's since moved far away, starting a new life as a middle school teacher.
People may change superficially, but not underneath.
Elizabeth and John McDermott were close friends and next-door neighbors of the McVeighs when both families were raising their children. We asked them how the horror of Oklahoma City has changed the father of America's worst terrorist.
Externally, not tremendously, but I'm sure inside he's churning and churning and churning.
This is where it all began, with the marriage of Bill and Mickey McVeigh in 1965. The marriage ended in 1984 when Tim was 16 years old. These are exclusive photos never before seen on television. They are portraits of a seemingly normal family. Mickey McVeigh, who attended her son's trial, declined an interview, but wrote us this emotional letter last year in which she describes life since the bombing. She says she's had to give up everything she had to start a new life, and says she's been harassed and treated as a nothing, and that the family has been mocked and treated like criminals. But author Lou Michel says Timothy McVeigh believes his arrest sent his mother into an emotional tailspin.
With Timothy McVeigh's mother, it accelerated mental illness, McVeigh believes, and she has since been hospitalized involuntarily at 3 psychiatric facilities. And he believes that the pressures and being the mother of the Oklahoma City bomber accelerated her psychiatric problems.
2 years ago, Mickey McVeigh created an uproar when she said it was time for survivors to get over their anger. She said she didn't mean to offend anyone, but many were. Anthony Cooper lost his grandson and daughter-in-law in Oklahoma. He'll never get over his loss. He doesn't blame the McVeigh family. He just wants Timothy McVeigh executed.
Tim not only killed my family, but basically he injured his own family to the point where they will be grieving for the rest of their lives also.
I loved him, and no, he's not evil. He took a very wrong turn, and for whatever reason refuses to see the evil that he has done, but I don't think he is evil, no.
And that's what makes the McVeigh story so hard to comprehend. You look at the photos of his youth, talk to the people who know him, who still love him, and you still can't trace the roots of the hate and violence. Bill McVeigh told us that he asked Tim in a jailhouse visit if he was ready to apologize to the families of the victims. Bill says Tim told him, "Dad, I'd make a lot of people happy if I apologized, but if I apologized, I'd be lying."
Are you prepared for death?
I am. I came to terms with my mortality in the Gulf War. After that, it's not that hard to be, quote, prepared for death.
Bill told Inside Edition that he and daughter Jennifer traveled to the prison in Indiana to visit Tim for the last time on April 10th. They were separated by a glass window. Bill says they could have had a final hug and kiss, but Tim said no. In the end, Bill says Timothy stood up, his hands cuffed behind him, turned, and pressed his open palms against the glass. Jennifer, in tears, pressed her hand against one of Tim's, and Bill did the same. Then Tim walked away. Bill McVeigh will never see his son again.
There's nothing worse in the world than losing your own child, as these people did in Oklahoma City. But I think almost as horrific would be what Bill McVeigh went through.